Alright guys, hello and welcome back to Paintball News with Punisher's Paintball. I am Meaty Guy Doug. This is our owner, Lord, Boss, Dad, Joel Baker. He is back in the studio, back from vacation. Joel, how was your vacation?
Great. Myrtle Beach, baby. Yeah, it was a good time. Good time.
Always good to get away for a little bit. So, if you guys happen to like this edition of Paintball News after we cover a whole bunch of topics here, make sure to check out the link in the description and shop at Punisher's Paintball, and we'll catch you after the intro. Did you stop and play any paintball on your vacation?
No, I didn't.
This is a non-paintball trip?
There's a field down there called Black Ops Paintball that's actually on this news feed here. Yes. But needless to say, Black Ops Paintball is down there, and their store was like 20 minutes from our resort. But needless to say, we didn't try to get some family time in because got a lot of paintball coming up. So
yeah, it's the summer, it's paintball season. It's all about events. I believe I played at Black Ops. That was where the CPSL was.
Yeah, you went down with Chad and Michaela.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a good event. They had blue turf too, which was like super cool.
That's lit.
It slid. It was nice turf too. It was. I like Black Ops.
Nice.
But let's hop into some topics here. I see on the list first, we're going to tell you guys about our Punisher's Shocker amps that just dropped. It is the LE Woodland Camo. Yeah.
15 of them.
Only 15, so there were 35 in the last run. We decided to narrow that down to 15. You know, exclusivity is cool, trying to make these things super rare. I really love the way these things turned out. Obviously, I'll have to pop up a picture here as we talk about it a little bit. Joel and I also did a little 1-minute video on it over on our Instagram that you guys can see. It's a Shocker amp. It's going to rip, and now you get something that is extremely exclusive. A lot of other people do not have. And Joel, previously, there was some kind of special offer with the grips that were coming out if people pre-ordered them?
Yeah, so with pre-orders, we were offering a free amp grip kit, and we decided to continue that forward. So if you purchase it, you get a free amp grip kit with it. We'll call you and ask you what number you want, because we laser engraved every number, as well as, what color amp grip kit you want. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So I know the one that we were using for the shop had like a camo kit on it, right? That was what you had... I think it was an Exalt foregrip, wasn't it? Yeah,
I use an Exalt foregrip. I really like the amp. I like how the amp shoots, but I hate that they thin down the foregrip on it. So basically, if you put, a lot of people don't know this, life hack, if Exalt actually makes a foregrip that is a lot thicker. It was initially for the Shocker RSX, but it fits the RSX, the XLS, and now the amp. So that's why I decided to put on my personal one.
Gotcha.
So.
And you were just ripping that this past weekend. You and Chris, I think, were both ripping it at the first practice for NXL Philly.
Yes, and a shot. Phenomenal. Probably one of my favorite shooting guns. But we'll talk about my other favorite shooting gun right now.
Okay, let's hear it.
Lux TM40. Yeah. So if you guys didn't see it, I did an overview of it. Thank you to the customer that allowed us to use his gun. It was the very first one that we've gotten. We have gotten a few extra, and we're fulfilling back orders. But needless to say, they're shipping. So we're starting to get the colors. There's 5 base colors, and black, blue, red, silver, and pewter. And we're slowly starting to get them in. We are getting a ton of people that are wanting to trade in whatever gun for the TM40. I can completely understand. I think that this is probably one of the most fundamentally best guns that I've ever come across. Because it's groundbreaking.
There people. I heard there was flack that was given over like, they didn't really change up the design too much. But the thing is with the TM40, it's what's on the inside. It's the bolt. Really is the big like kind of update with it, as was kind of with the X as well. In addition to the toolless ability to take it apart, but like plus now you can put the mechanical trigger on it, and I don't know if you can do that on the X. Like, can you retrofit it to the X?
No, you're not going to be able to retrofit it, to my knowledge. So what's cool about the TM40 is it's completely toolless. So like Shocker/DLX really knew what they were doing, because they basically released a Shocker amp. The shot quality on Shocker amp's great, but doesn't have the same features. Meaning, you still have to. That's my only problem with the amp is no toolless battery and no toolless eyes. Well, with
and
the Lux,
you still need at least one screw to take the frame apart as well.
Exactly. Now with the TM40, you get even better shot, in my opinion, because we've shot it now, as well as toolless eye covers, this toolless Pro-Lock frame, the latch system for the trigger frame. And on top of that, it comes with the toolless solenoid valve removal. So you can literally switch between mechanical to electric with not touching an Allen key. That's why I say it's fundamentally like way different.
Yeah.
Is because like no other gun can do that. Like and on top of that, for right now, Lux TM40s are still the lowest priced high-end gun out there. And I'll tell you what, the shot quality on it is phenomenal. So far, Keegan and I shot it when we had one in the store.
I really wish I would have been here for that day. I was really mad I didn't get to be
If you guys haven't seen that video, check it out. It's the Lux TM40 overview on the channel.
I'll link it, don't worry. We got it.
There we go. but overall, very impressed. So they're shipping now.
We are getting them as fast as we can.
Yes.
As soon as guys, as for the back orders, as soon as they come in, they go right out. So
same day.
Bear with us. It is as fast as the factory can produce. We are getting them and shipping them out.
Yeah.
So I would just like to comment as well. I had spoken to Russell down at the last NXL event at the Sunshine Major about some of the comments, like, oh, they didn't change anything. One thing that he actually like an example that he pulled forward about how they listen to their players and stuff like that when they get this feedback. A lot of the guys said, like, we love the foregrip, but it's a little round. They wanted it to be flatter on the back side of it. They actually made a note, and like if you felt it, I don't remember, Joel, when you were shooting, but like the back of the foregrip is it's just better to be gripped. It's sharper edges. It's just flatter. I don't know. I can't remember everything else that Russell had said they did to this thing, but
well, the grips are different.
Okay.
As far as the electronics are basically the same, but with that rechargeable battery that you got with the Lux X, it was much larger, 3 times the capacity of the older Luxes, and you use a USB-C instead of having to use that like really weird adapter.
Yeah, so that's if you break one or lose it, you can just stop at CVS and pick up a new one.
Yeah. And so they change a lot to do with the mechanical side of things. It's it's basically everything has to do with the bolt system. The bolt system, everyone's like, it's the same bolt system. Yeah, to the naked eye, but I'm telling you it's different. I'm telling you it's different. And what's really cool is that there was a lot of personal preference. I can't necessarily expose the details because I don't have specific approval, but needless to say, there was a lot of time that was spent on the actual shot, like just the shot. There was a pro player involved. Basically, just was in his hands, and he like perfected. I think I was told over 100 different variations.
You know what? Yes, thank you. Now you jog my memory. Yes, they literally just spent a day or days rather, and put a bunch of different versions of what was going to be the TM40 in his hands, and he whittled it down to this is the one. So this is a gun for the player, and I love how just like the lowest of the premium prices and gives you just the most features and just ease of use. But enough about TM40. You know we love it. We're going to get them to you. Next up on the list, we are going to talk about a move in pro paintball. Tyler Harmon leaves Dynasty, heads over to Houstoon Heat. There are a lot of thoughts and opinions going out about this. Personally, I don't blame him. I really don't. Because, I mean, obviously both very top-tier teams. Dynasty coming off of a World Cup win in 2020. One could argue, well, why would you leave? You just won to carry that momentum forward. Sure. But think about it. The man is into his 30s, has a wife, 2 kids. Like, at some point, these guys that have put money, time, sweat, tears, blood, all of that into this game deserve to be getting paid at some point and kind of making back what they put in. So he is one of the most fierce attackers that's out there. He has been at the top of his game, and I think he's still within his prime right now for the next few years at least. So
100%.
I really don't blame him. I don't hold anything against him, and I'm personally a Heat fan, so I'm excited to see what
So am I. And like, for those of you that don't know, to my knowledge, Tyler has a pest control business.
Really?
Yes, like that's what he does is pest control, to my knowledge. I think I've heard that somewhere before. But needless to say, my parents own a pest control business. So I'm like particular biased towards Tyler because I love his energy. Plus he like knows pest control. So which is kind of interesting because you look at Tyler and you're like, you do pest control? But
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like, everybody's got something outside of paintball. I mean, a lot of dudes have like other profession.
Right.
So that only makes sense. But
overall, I mean, I love it. I love his energy. I'm glad that he's coming to Heat. I am a Houstoon Heat fan, and I think that, I mean, dude, they're stacked. Like, how do you? I mean, my thing is that with Tyler, and I don't know what's going on with Fedorov, but
he just got his visa and he's here. He's practicing with them.
Bro.
So on the Play the Game podcast,
if they don't win,
I know. If
they don't win in Philly, if they don't win in Philly,
I know. Well, honestly,
I mean, how do you not win with that roster?
In some off-camera conversations, and again, this is me being a Heat fan. I had said, like, without being able to get Fedorov indefinitely and not knowing that Harmon was coming, and just kind of the way things have been going for the last 3 events, they didn't make Sunday. So was like, honestly, it may be a while before Heat takes another win. It may be a couple of years, but that's a cycle. A lot of teams go through.
Yeah, but like you never.
This might break the cycle though, big time, and I am really hoping to.
Yeah, it could.
So I'm very excited for that. Plus, I mean, like you have like he's a weapon. You have Dizon. Nico Hyde has really been coming out of his shell as a player. Like they've been playing him a lot more with Ronnie as well. So just having multiple weapons specifically set for the D side, Philly's about to be a lot of fun. Just put it that way. But moving on a little bit into some classic paintball, the ICPL, the Old Bay Classic was at OXCC. That's in Maryland, right?
Yes, to my knowledge. Yes.
Yep. So we had a winner. It was actually Infamous that came out on top. Dude, didn't Tyler play with Infamous for that event, or did he play as he played?
I don't know. I don't know.
That was in an episode I was just listening to him play the game, but or maybe he jumped in with the Heat guys, which would make sense considering the move. But I know he was there. But dude, congrats to Infamous. I mean, they've been popping up again as really starting to figure their game out. They got, I believe, second at the Sunshine Major to Infamous.
They did.
Or sorry, to
that's what I was going to say.
To Impact. That was.
Yep.
It's good to see a team that's been around for that long, and especially with Thomas Taylor, who like I feel like Infamous has just like he's kind of really embraced that brand. He kind of is Infamous. It's good to see them coming out on top and see them kind of get what they deserve.
Yeah, because like once again, like that's a roster that you look at and you're like, wow, these are. I mean, there's so many rock stars on that roster, right? Yeah. So you look at that roster and you go, once again, how do you not win? And Infamous had a rocky year, to my knowledge, if I remember correctly. They didn't do great last year. Probably should have done better. But then they've got some phenomenal players. It's about, I wouldn't say it's about time, but they were due for that type of performance.
Yeah,
they were run through people.
I know. Teams like Infamous, and after watching X Factor over the last few years, like I think they won Philly 2019. I was there for that event, and that was the first one they had won in almost over a decade, something like that. It had been a long time for these teams that are dominant teams, and you should never sleep. Honestly, any pro team, never sleep on them. There's always a chance that they will beat a higher tier team.
Columbus level, dude. They're coming after you.
Philly,
man. Columbus level.
Think about Aftermath from a couple years ago at their first pro event down in Dallas.
Third place.
Came out second or like top 3 or whatever.
Third place, yeah. That one I'll remember because that's the best. To my knowledge, once again, Jesus.
Or in his opinion.
In my opinion. I think it's probably the best performance any pro team, like their pro debut, has ever done. Third place, like most of those teams don't, 20 teams most of the time.
That's hard.
They're happy if they make Sunday.
That's hard. I think that's a goal for a lot of first year teams is just let's consistently make Sunday. So, right. But again, so really anything can happen, especially when you have these long-standing teams. That kind of goes to prove to my point. Things are a cycle. Like honestly, like a lot of fashion comes in cycles. Teams that win come in cycles. Like, and it was just about time for older teams like X Factor and Infamous to start creeping their way back up.
So you think if Infamous could do well this?
I am hoping to see a consistently strong performance out of them. I think they're going to be a contender. I can't remember the schedule. No, I don't remember the schedule for what's been released so far. But if they do play against Heat, I am not leaving the stands for that entire match. Just saying right now. But that's definitely going to be something to watch out for. So again, they came out swinging for the ICPL. Joel, did you get any other? Did you talk to anybody about who was at the event?
Honestly, no.
No.
I just wanted to include it into the news.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really show Scenario too much love last news. So, needless to say, ICPL seemed to go off pretty well. I was following like people's news feeds and stuff, but so it looked like it was a good time, and like the ICPL is really popular right now. This whole mech craze is like it's not dissipating.
Yeah. No, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So, all right, next on the list, Living Legends happened at Black Ops Paintball in North Carolina. There was, I believe I was told, around 800 people at Living Legends. Basically what happened is usually Living Legends is a scenario event that's held in Chicago every year, but due to restrictions in Illinois, COVID restrictions in Illinois, it was moved to Black Ops. Slightly less people, seemed like it was a good time still, and Black Ops has a bunch of really cool fields to play. So that was definitely a cool thing. And next year, I believe that they plan on CPX events plans on bringing it back to
Chicago with the return of kind of normal life as the vaccine continues to roll out and all that good stuff.
Yep.
I love that. Did we have any sponsored teams that went down and played that?
We did. 13th Legionnaires did.
Awesome.
The Zoo PB did not. But they are playing Monster Game. So Monster Game is coming up in July. That's going to be at Hell Survivors, we're going to be a vendor there. I'm really excited about being a vendor at that game. It's bring your own paint. So if you're in the Michigan area, we highly suggest that you go to it. And the Zoo PB as well as 13th Legionnaires, both sponsored scenario teams, are going to be there. So, if you guys are interested in sponsorship, hit us up.
Hit us up on the Instagram. We'll get you connected with the big man here.
Yeah.
Next on the list is going to be Dye Free Flow Auto Cockers. I don't know much about cockers. I'm not going to lie. I came in.
That's why I'm on the channel, guys. So I'm here for the news.
I was honest to God, they were still cool when I was getting into paintball, but at the time that was when a lot of the DMs started to take off. So I kind of missed that boat a little bit personally.
It's just like a nostalgia thing. There's nothing really all that different. The trigger frame, but back in the day it was a big thing. I'm not sure if they're including sticky grips. So sticky grips was a thing back then. And they were called sticky grips because they were literally that. They were sticky. They were very soft, cushiony, shell, But needless to say, they're limited amounts for dye. To my knowledge, it's not a wholesale thing, retailer thing. But
Gotcha.
it is cool, that
Gotcha.
they're bringing that back. All this stuff, JT bringing back ProFlexes, all these different variations of ProFlexes.
This ProFlex stuff is insane.
And who knows? Maybe they're going to come up with more colors and stuff like that. But
I'm hiding an old pair of lime green ProFlexes with black bottoms in my house.
Dude.
I'm holding
now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time. Discard of them if you're not going to use them, Doug.
Well, listen, guys. Tell me. Here's the thing: the foam is all torn up on those. So tell me in the comments how I can, revive or rejuvenate my foam. What I can do with that, because I need to. Dude, I'm gonna hold on to them. Same as I have these lime green fins for Virtue Crown Loader. I'm probably gonna buy a new one and get that.
I know what's gonna happen. People are gonna hit you up in the comments, be like, "Yo, let me get that."
If you're gonna pay off my student debt, you can have one of those items. Have fun with that. I was out of state.
There you go.
So let's move on. Now we're gonna talk about NXL Philly specifically. So Joel and them are playing for our NXL line. I will be at the event to spectate. I'll be helping out a little bit, filming and stuff like that. Please come say hi. I'm not gonna give away anything that they said or saw or did, but I played the layout this past weekend as well, and this layout it's cool. It's actually really fun.
It is. Extremely untraditional for an NXL layout.
Yeah,
It's not your traditional ladder snake.
Nope.
It's a back four. Pretty traditional.
Yeah, it's a back four, not a back five.
Right.
And here's my thing. I think that this snake plays a lot like the snake at Cup, where they have that weird wedge on the inside of the snake that can just camp and wait for people to make bumps. That my first couple points, that really got me in trouble. So I would advise checking things off in the middle a lot before you make bumps in the snake.
Pro tip by Doug.
Definitely would advise that. Also, those two towers that are kind of adjacently in the 30s on the snake side and the D side, those are very strong. And if you have a person in each of those, you can lock down a lot of stuff.
You can.
So
you can.
I think those are going to be very high traffic bunkers, if you will, for the event.
I'm excited. It's northwest of the city in Royers.
So this is actually going to be about 15 minutes from my parents' house, so y'all are going to be in my home territory.
That's right, and Doug's going to be walking around with his man satchels.
With Wawa. I'm going to have
his camera satchel.
Wawa.
Wawa's horrible.
No, it's not. Wawa is the best thing ever. So anyway, it's going to be in Royersford, Pennsylvania. It's about, I would call it 50 minutes west of Philadelphia, the actual city. So if you're still looking for a hotel, look in Limerick, PA, or in Royersford, Pennsilvania. Phoenixville is pretty close as well, but those are probably going to be your best bets for staying close to the field. I don't know exactly the location of where it's specific, the address or anything like that. Soccer fields. That's usually what these NXL events end up being held at, is big open grass.
Yeah, I'm excited that they're doing Philly because it's drivable. It's good that the NXL listened to the people and basically got rid of the Atlantic City event and moved it to Philly.
It was cool for a while, but I think AC itself has kind of died, so people didn't really want to go there anymore.
Right.
I was super stoked the last time they did Philly because that school that they held it at, Montgomery County Community College, that's where I did my first 2 years of college before I transferred to Ohio State. So that's all just been very near and dear to me. So I love that they have the event right in my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, guys. You should definitely let us know in the comments if you're going to go and be there. Tell us what division you're playing. We will be playing Division 4 X-Ball.
Mm-hmm.
D4 X-Ball. We're taking a roster of, I think, 8 or 9 guys. 9. So
a couple Lockdown guys. Shout out to Lockdown, plays at Level Up. Shout out Level Up.
Oh, speaking of Level Up and Lockdown, Chase, the guy who pretty much owns and runs Lockdown, he's going to be spinning with Level Pro.
Yes, he got picked up.
Congrats to Chase. I
Congrats
personally,
to
I've
Chase.
always liked him at the field. He's always been very nice to me. So
If you see a random dude,
with a really thick brown beanie,
yes.
that's tall, small, skinny guy with a beanie, way
so
too big
Chase
for his
got
head.
picked up, so that's awesome. The other thing I forgot to mention, that we totally forgot to mention, besides Philly, is that Bunkerfest just happened.
Oh,
So Chris
yeah.
Rangel of Paintball, Under Industries. whatever it is. Under Industries, they make custom jerseys and stuff like that. Chris decided that he wanted to do an event, and Bunkerfest was held in Texas. And it seemed like it went over really well. It's kind of interesting that somebody's just trying to offer a different tournament series on like the national scale, which is cool. So from what I hear from people that played it and everything else like that, it went off really well. There's a good vendor show, different vendors than normal, smaller vendors. So that was really cool to see, and everything seemed to be really well run from what I heard.
So we had a couple players. We had Chad and Michaela go down and put together a line with some of their old friends as well. They got sixth for the whole event.
Yep.
Yeah, they actually did pretty well. They interviewed Michaela as well, which was cool. She hates talking on camera, but they made her do it anyway because she's very quiet. But when I got to speak to her a little bit, she said she had a lot of fun. I think that they are looking to do it again, and they don't want to do it in Texas because Texas gets very Mardi Gras. No way!
Mardi Gras. They're going to do it. So what is public knowledge, at least right now, is that, I mean, nothing's set, but 2 weeks after Mardi Gras, so it's cheaper to fly and stuff, and it's a little bit more family friendly. But that would be next year, obviously, since it's Mardi Gras already passed.
It's funny you mentioned family friendly because I believe I remember seeing Chris. He made like a post or whatever, like as far as like the rules of Bunkerfest, and I believe he wasn't requiring chin straps. Mm-hmm. I think he might have done away with the overshooting. Like he's like we're gonna let the players play kind of thing, and they weren't pulling penalties for cussing. I believe. They're like, it's a passion sport, let people play. So
I think it's kind of interesting that they kept with the traditional format of like 10 balls per second and like no coaching. I was having this discussion with Kenzie actually about like it would have been cool to see a different format,
like classic X ball,
like 15 balls a second, less bunkers and coaching.
I also personally miss the penalty box as far as classic X ball goes.
That would be lit.
I like the penalty box. I'm not gonna lie, but. There's a lot of idea. I mean, Chris can do whatever he wants with Bunkerfest going forward. If he happens to see this and he wants to take an idea, all for it. I'd love to see it. I might actually be able to make it to that event. But guys, I think that's about all we have for you today. Nice long segment for you because it's been a minute since we've been able to do paintball news. Hope you enjoyed the video today.
And if we missed anything, please leave in the comments. We apologize now.
There's always so much going on, guys. It can be hard to keep up with everything, especially because Joel and myself have day jobs outside of this as well. So if you want to help us out and drop any other info in the comments, we do appreciate it. If you want to pick up any gear for yourself before this NXL Philly event, make sure to do it with Punisher's Paintball. There will be a link in the description. We'll catch you guys next time.
See you guys.